Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Bright Violet Arts. My name is Valerie, and I am setting up my bullet journal today for March 2024. I'm using a Zentangle or Zendoodle theme this month, and it just turns out so pretty. What I'm starting with here is a color gradient that I am painting on for my background. You can see I've protected some space on each page with some washi tape to create some nice borders. This is a second coat of paint that I'm using to increase the opacity of the finish, but also to help blend the colors together to get a nicer transition between the shades. So a Zentangle, for anybody who's unfamiliar, it's also known as a Zendoodle. But essentially what this is, it's a style of drawing that allows you to create very intricate works of art just by focusing on one small area at a time to create a elaborate pattern. So you focus on very small, simple doodles, but when they're all put together, they're very, very impressive. And it's also a nice way to relax, focus, to calm the mind. It's a nice way to just take a break from a hectic day because the doodling style is very stream of consciousness. Like I don't plan these doodles out before I start other than to make the circle patterns that I use for the mandala doodles. But everything else just kind of comes to me in the moment, and that's why it's a form of therapy. A lot of people undertake this as therapy, like in art therapy classes. But I love the way it looks, and so it makes a great bullet journal theme for me. I've done it once before. I did it in April 2022, and I have a video up on my channel that is pretty similar in style to this. It's different colors, and there's some different elements to the setup. But I loved it so much, I thought it was time to revisit the style for this month. I have used Arteza acrylic gouache paint for the background, but you could achieve a similar effect with watercolor or regular gouache paint. And I'm using my fine tip Posca paint pens in black and white for the Zendoodles on top of that background. However, you could use fine liners or gel pens for this effect as well. And the washi tape is going to come off and reveal these very nice clean borders, and I will use that protected space for my other decorations for my cover page. So I'm going to start off here with a title. March is my birthday month, and so I kind of was inspired by my zodiac sign. I'm a Pisces, so I was kind of inspired to use like water-based colors, like not water-based, but water-inspired colors, I guess. The blue and the purple and the aqua green. So I thought that looked really pretty, and then I've got a quote here for just reminding me that things, get better in life as you go. We get better with age. So I'm going to finish that off with a dark black border on each of these boxes just to help separate the text and decorations from the background, because that background is quite busy. And here is a look at the completed cover page. I thought it turned out very nice. Moving on now to the calendar spread, I'm using some cursive stamps to add the days of the week above each column of my floating boxes. And I'm using a 0.8 size black fine liner to ink in those daily boxes. I like to keep things cohesive, so I'm going to repeat the same color gradient from the cover page, and I'm going to do another Zentangle over top of it. I will link the Arteza acrylic gouache paint that I'm using. I'll link that in the description box. I'm also going to link a tutorial that I made. It's been a couple years now, but it still holds up. It's a tutorial on how to do these Zendoodles in my style with a little more instruction. It's a little longer form than what I'm able to do in a Plan With Me video. So if you want to try this out and you want to check it out, I highly encourage it, because it does take a more in-depth look at the types of shapes I like to use and the technique I use for drawing the mandala doodles. Now, that being said, you do not have to use this style of doodle. You can use any doodles that you want, any shapes that you like to draw. I have seen some beautiful Zentangles that are very, very simple. They just use like circles and squares for the doodles, and it still looks really, really nice when you put it all together. I would encourage anybody to give this a shot and to, make it your own, make it your style. I'm going in now with a Zig Clean Color Dot marker to dot the days of the month, and I'm filling that in with just a Sharpie pen, a medium point Sharpie pen. This is a drop shadow that I'm adding to the boxes with a light gray highlighter. And then I'm going to use the same style of lettering as I used on the cover page for my March title. In the leftover space above the daily boxes, I am going to just highlight off a place to put notes or important dates that I want to remember for March. And I'm going to put a little doodle, another Zentangle or Zendoodle on the bottom of that just to add further decoration. This is not necessary. This is totally optional. But I like this style of Zendoodle as well. So this one is going to be different. I mean, there's obviously no color gradient background, but it's still kind of just made up as I go along, stream of consciousness kind of doodling. And it turned out pretty cute in the end. I like that style, and so I'm going to repeat that in other places on the following pages. So I've got two styles of Zendoodles going on in this month's setup, and I think they play really nicely off each other. We're now on the third spread of the month, and I am using some washi tape to bring in the same colors from my color gradient background, but just in a different way, just so this page is a little different from the others, but still belongs, still matches the color scheme. I've stamped out 9 miniature calendars for my habit trackers, and I am adding in a highlighted list here for my tasks. I have a little circle stencil that I'm adding to each line so I can check off the tasks as they are completed. To decorate this spread, I am adding a quote here, another one just about getting on with my life, in my birthday month here. And I have penciled it in over top of the highlighted background just because I want to erase those pencil lines when I'm done. If I were to highlight over top of the pencil, I would not be able to erase it after that. So highlight first, then pencil in my letters is the way that goes. And I'm using the acrylic gouache paint again to do another gradient on this little heart design that I've drawn. This is another Zendoodle, but it looks a little fancier just because it's bigger. It is the same concept. The thing that makes this look a little more pulled together than the other Zendoodles is that it's very symmetrical. So everything I did to one side of the heart, I did to the other side of the heart. And that gives it a nice finished appearance, especially when it's all colored in. It comes together really well. I'm also going to tie this in with the Zendoodles on the color gradients from the other pages by using the white Posca pen over top of the black lines. That just gives it that same kind of messy dimension that the other doodles have, and that helps with the overall cohesiveness of all the spreads. I put a little piece of black washi tape over that bottom line of the task list just because I felt like I needed to separate the tasks from the illustration. But here's a look at how it all turned out. And now it's time to get on to the weekly spreads. And these are some super cool Dutch doors. These are waterfall tabs or waterfall Dutch doors that I'm going to cut for each week of this month. The way that the calendar falls, there's 3 days in the first week of March and then 4 full calendar weeks for the remaining days of the month. So when I have 5 weeks like that, I'm going to cut 4 tabs. It's always one less tab to cut than the number of weeks that you have. So I'm going to cut 4 tabs, and I used a nice wavy line for those. And as you can see, I am painting in a little color stripe at the edge of each line on these tab doors, and that's going to give a really cute effect. I want to separate those with a thick black line, so I'm using a thicker nib on this black paint pen and just trying to put a nice even width of a line around each of the stripes. But I just think they're so cute the way that they lay on top of each other, and I like the shape that it creates for the Dutch door. It's a little more organic and a little more fun, I think, than just a straight edge Dutch door. For each week, I am going to draw a box for the days of the month. So all the weeks except the first week are going to have 6 boxes. So I've got Monday through Friday, and then I share a box for Saturday and Sunday. And I'm just doing these vertical columns. The boxes are a little smaller this way than how I might normally do them in other setups, but I think it'll be okay, and it's worth it, I think, just to get the aesthetic of these curvy Dutch doors. So I'm just going to alternate my highlighter colors here for the headers on each box, and then I'm going to come back in and stamp the days of the week and the dates with that same set of cursive stamps that I used on the calendar page. And I'm trying to be efficient here. I'm doing all the Mondays at one time and all the Tuesdays at one time. I'm going to use all the numbers. Every place there's a 1, every place there's a 2. I'm going to do them all at one time so I don't have to change the stamp on my stamp block quite as often. I have painted one more color gradient in the space on the left side of this setup. And I'm using my circle template again to put in the framework for my mandala doodles. If you don't have a circle making template, but you want to put in some of these circles, you can use pocket change. Coins are great because they come in various sizes. Bigger circles, you can use like the lid of a bottle, like on a cosmetic product, or you could use a glass from your kitchen. So there's lots of options in most households to get circle patterns. In this extra space that I have in the first week of March, I am leaving a column highlighted here to write in current events. I like to have an in the news section. In the negative space created by the curve of the Dutch doors, on each page I'm going to add another Zen doodle just to fill up that small spot. These Zen doodles, I'm not really worried about keeping them symmetrical, but I am going to tie them into the others just by using the same shapes as I used in the Zen doodle, the swirls, the hearts, the leaves, and various shapes of flowers, just easy doodles. Now on this week, week 11, this is my birthday week, so I have a cute little quote here, the best is yet to come, and again another one of those little doodles to fill up the negative space in the curve. This one I thought looked really cute when it was all finished, especially once I go over it with the white pen. I'm also adding a little white highlight to each of the shapes along the right side of each shape, and that kind of makes the design pop. For the last week of the month, I'm combining a couple of memory keeping items. I have a songs on repeat area there, so I can put 3 songs that I'm listening to a lot next month. And then I have a space for 2 photographs that I'm going to call memories. I have a Sprocket mini printer. It's like a little thermal printer, and it prints 2 by 3 inch photos, so they will fit perfectly in the little frames that I've drawn. Here's a look at the completed weekly pages. I just love the Dutch doors. I know I said it before, but they are really eye-catching and fun, and I know I'm going to enjoy using these pages in the month coming up. So let's look back at the whole setup. Thank you so much for joining me for this video, and if you liked it, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you want more inspirational journal content like this, because I do put out a plan with me each month. I am also over on Instagram at Bright Violet Arts. If you want to follow me over there, I post a lot of journal content as well as portrait art. I'm also a portrait artist, and I post some of my paintings over there as well. So you can check that out if you're interested. Feel free to leave any feedback that you may have on the video in the comments section below. I would love to know what you thought of it, and certainly I hope that you got some inspiration or ideas for your own journal as well. Thanks for joining me, and have a wonderful March.